These young Greens in Berlin are at the beginning of their political careers. But the issues that matter most to them are already high on the political agenda. They're discussing the financial crisis, the Occupy movement, how much support they should give to it, and what stance the young Greens should take.
At the end of the day, it's a movement that opposes forms of democracy that enable us to exist as a political youth organization.
They've been involved in the Occupy protests and are discussing the right path for the future, parliamentary democracy or radical forms of direct democracy. Kati Bachnik is the delegate for the Berlin Young Greens at the upcoming party convention. The Greens have seen their popularity soar this year.
I think the Greens have always been a bit more extreme, and that should stay that way. In the last 6 months, there have been some who've tried to broaden the appeal to even more people, but that means departing from some of our fundamental demands.
Yet it was the Greens' clear demands that saw their popularity rise. They campaigned against extending the lifetime of Germany's nuclear reactors and for an end to nuclear power. After the Fukushima disaster, it was no longer a call from the fringe, but a demand from the political mainstream. The Greens also took a firm stance against a major rail construction project in Stuttgart. They were rewarded at the polls, making political history after winning their first ever premiership of a German state. The Greens were riding a wave of success. Their support jumped to 25% in opinion polls. And that's where the problems began.
The reason the Greens are suffering at the moment is because their key selling point is the environment and sustainable energy. And those are issues that the bigger parties have started claiming as their own. So that raises the question of what makes the Greens different. What do they stand for? Or what does the CDU not stand for?
Suddenly, it was Chancellor Merkel's CDU driving forward Germany's nuclear phase-out. They called the Greens bluff. And to achieve their long-standing goal, they felt obliged to vote with their political rivals. But was it a step too far?
I believe we Greens should stick to our issues. That should be the focus of our politics. That's what makes us respected. That's what gave us 30% support in opinion polls in Berlin. And I think that's what voters expect of us.
30% would have been enough to put Renate Künast into power in Berlin. And it would have put the Greens in power once again at the state level. But that dream evaporated. They polled just over 17% and were left in opposition after failing to hammer out a coalition deal with the Social Democrats.
I don't know any senior Greens who ever dreamed of becoming a big people's party. All the big parties are mired in crisis. We don't want a crisis. At the last general election in 2009, we showed our support is growing, and we want to continue that trend.
The number of young Greens is also growing. New members attend almost every meeting. The party's next generation is optimistic about the future. They're sticking to their principles, even if that makes the Greens difficult for potential coalition partners.
Now we've shown we're not a pushover. That's very important. The Social Democrats should see we won't be messed with. We, the Greens, will defend ourselves.
I
don't want to be involved in politics just so any old Greens get into power. I do it because there are issues that need discussing in Parliament.
The upcoming party convention will be an opportunity to put those issues on the table. The Greens are bullish about the future. They say they'll stick to their old positions while exploring new issues.